The Best of Living in Iowa is funded in part by the Gilchrist Foundation. Founded by Jocelyn Gilchrist, furthering the philanthropic interests of the Gilchrist family in wildlife and conservation, the arts and public broadcasting, and disaster relief.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.
Hello, this is Morgan Halgren. For 16 seasons, living in Iowa told the tale of what it means to be uniquely Iowan. Tonight, we honor that spirit by bringing you another glimpse into our rich heritage with a few stories from our archives. In this episode of The Best of Living in Iowa, we'll revisit our story about saddle maker Russ Sebetka. Polk County naturalist Lewis Major proposes a cure for cabin fever, and I venture into the wilderness to hunt for geodes.
Russ Sebetka was born into the Iowa horse business. His father bought, sold, and shoed horses, so it was no surprise when Russ began to break colts and carve into leather. What began with a 4-H billfold entered in the county fair has blossomed into a legacy of fine leatherwork, and now each saddle is a prize in itself.
I'm making 6 custom trophy saddles for the Jack Daniels $400,000 Pro Rodeo Challenge. It's the largest and richest series in professional rodeo at this time. It involves 19 indoor major rodeos. It's produced by the world's toughest rodeo company right here in Williamsburg, Iowa. At the end of these 19 rodeos, the winner of each event will receive one of these trophy saddles. It's pretty nice to know that some of the top cowboys and cowgirls around the country are going to be riding my saddles.
As a young man, Russ Sebetka's rodeo dreams drew him westward to Wyoming and Colorado. He rode the bulls and the bareback horses for 20 years, and in 1989 he won the Nebraska Feedlot Rodeo Championship. But out west, the towns are 45 miles apart, too far to compete in all the rodeos and still keep your ranch job. He reined in his knowledge from years of riding for a living and created a second career for himself in saddle making. To his leathercraft, he brought a passion for excellence in his craftsmanship and in his materials.
I use top-of-the-line grade A Herman oak leather, which is made from American steer hides in St. Louis, Missouri. No imports or nothing like that in my leather. I use good stainless steel hardware, stainless steel screws that hold it all together. My saddle trees are handmade for me. They're the stoutest trees you can find.
The word got out around the ranches about Russ's saddles, bridles, headstalls, and chaps. They were made by a cowboy who had spent many hours in the saddle, and it showed. His wife Ruth was a ranch hand too. She tested his work and endured the long hours that Russ toiled after his day job to perfect his craft. The saddles Russ made for his family reflect his sentiments.
The first saddle I made was for my wife, Ruth. It has carved roses in several of the corners. She's kind of the one that got me onto the carved rose and made me stay after it, and I'm one of the few guys, I guess, that actually carve a real rose. I guess I'd probably be sentimental about that first saddle. I know she'll never get rid of it. The first saddle I made my daughter is pretty special, I guess. That's probably another one we'll never get rid of.
Russ also prides himself on a craft that was almost forgotten. Horsehair braiding takes infinite patience and a love of detail work. He revived the craft and steered his business in another direction.
Horsehair braiding is pretty rare these days. There's a few guys out there that do it, and even less that can make a living at it. Horsehair braiding and hitching goes back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. A lot of inmates did it in prisons, and they still do it in some of the prisons in Colorado and Montana. They're pretty rare, but when I'd find one of those pieces, I'd study it. This is a leather braided chin strap that goes hooks onto the bit on the bridle of a horse. It just looks so interesting and finely detailed, and real nice craftsmanship and patience that go with it. It appealed to me that way.
The Western years brought Russ the beginnings of a career and a family. Iowa promised him the prosperity of being the only full-time saddle maker in a state with a thriving horse business. For his wife Ruth, for his new daughter Kelly, and for Russ too, it was a time to come home to Iowa and to have a home of their own.
I went to school at Center Point, graduated in 1979. Left and came back a few different times, and it got to the point after we got married and had Kelly, we thought about places here and there and just decided to come home and get settled down here.
Hey, get some work done in here.
How you doing, Wayne?
Good.
Most of our family's back here, and then a lot of the friends that I'd had before that had been out cowboying around the country, they were moved back as well now.
So the cowboy returned home. He brought his family, his craftsmanship, his dreams, and his different lifestyle back to Iowa.
I guess I've been told I live a little different. It is a quieter occupation. I spend a lot of my time alone. I guess it gives me time to think. Having the shop here at home is just what I've always wanted.
Russ's leather work is bought by people throughout the United States now, but his hopes are the same for each saddle, whether the customer buying it is a rodeo winner or a ranch hand.
Someday I hope to make the saddles for the world champions in professional rodeo at the national finals in Las Vegas. I hope that the ones that win the saddles as prizes take them out and would use them. It's nice to have a trophy saddle displayed in your house, but I'd rather see it out there getting used daily than sitting in the living room. I guess what makes me the happiest is when I know the customer's satisfied, that the hard-earned money that they put into this saddle, that they feel it was really worth it.
Now that winter is upon us, do you too often find yourself cooped up indoors, curled up in front of the tube? Well, naturalist Lewis Major has the cure for your cabin fever. His prescription, an active outdoor regimen of therapeutic exercise and recuperative fun.
Relaxing with a good book next to a cozy fire is a great way to spend a cold winter afternoon. But not me, I gotta get out and play. I think we've all suffered from a bad case of cabin fever. Well, guess what? There's a quick and easy cure. Simply get out of the cabin. There are plenty of things to get you outside during the winter. There's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate dress. One of the most important things to consider while being active outdoors is dressing appropriately. Staying warm is obviously key, but just as important is staying dry. You want to dress in layers so you can regulate your body temperature. And never wear cotton, because once it gets wet, it stays wet. There are several types of modern materials on the market today that are very warm, yet lightweight and wick away moisture to help keep you dry. Once you're dressed appropriately, you're ready to get outside. One of the earliest inventions to help people get outside were these. Snowshoes were actually invented thousands of years ago as a means of survival. Early people had to get outside to hunt, regardless of the weather. Early snowshoes, like this one, were made using a wood frame and animal hide. Modern snowshoes are made from a variety of materials, like plastic and even aluminum. Snowshoes are great for getting around when the snow is deep, but let's go one step further. cross-country skis provide a quicker way of getting around by gliding across the snow. Joining me to help demonstrate this is Patrice Peterson-Keys, Education Coordinator for Polk County Conservation. Now, Patty, I'm a downhill skier. This equipment's quite a bit different.
Yep, your poles are essentially the same. Your skis are going to be a lot narrower and longer, so you're not going to be able to turn quite as easily. Your boots are only going to be attached to the toe to help you kick and glide across the snow. Everything you need for a great low-impact winter workout. Lou, skiing is a lot like walking. You basically step, glide, step, glide.
Oh, Patty makes this look really easy. With a little practice, I could definitely get the hang of this.
And Lou, if you start to get hot, remember, you can always just take your hat off.
Well, this is a lot of fun, Patty, but how can we speed this up just a little bit?
Skijoring.
Gesundheit.
No, Lou, skijoring is where you're being pulled on your cross-country skis by a dog. Aston, come! Yeah.
So that dog is going to pull you.
Yep, he's got a harness, I've got a harness, a line to attach this to, and we're ready to go.
Cool, let's see it. Wow, that was pretty slick, but I don't have a dog. I use gravity. I'm here at Seven Oaks Recreation in Boone. Iowa may not be known for its downhill skiing or its thick fog, but it may surprise you to know there's some great places to downhill ski in the state. Now that's more my speed. But what about a more laid-back activity?
Ice fishing is a great way to get outside, and it doesn't involve swooshing across the snow. All you need are a few pieces of equipment and you're ready to go. Always be sure to check the ice conditions before you plan to fish.
Simply taking a hike is perhaps the best way to enjoy the peace and serenity of a winter's day. The forest isn't asleep by any means. There are lots of things to find out here. Like this stuff. This is scat, the scientific word for animal droppings. The size and shape of this scat tells me it was left by a raccoon. Also the smell. It's rubber. Another neat thing to find are these, animal tracks. Just like I thought, these are raccoon tracks. Another great activity is bird watching, and here to tell us a little more about that is Naturalist for Polk County Conservation, Joe Boyles, and an avid bird watcher. So Joe, what's a good way to get started watching birds?
Well, bird watching is something you can really do all year long, but in the winter it's a really nice activity to do because you can actually set up bird feeders at your home and bring the birds to you. But another really nice activity is to get out and go see the birds where they live. And going to areas like Saylorville Lake or any of the big reservoirs around the state is a great opportunity to see our national symbol, the bald eagle. They're very common here in the state during the winter. We have over 150 nesting pairs of eagles in the state today, and we have thousands of eagles that spend the winter here in the state of Iowa. To get out and see bald eagles in their natural setting, it's just such a majestic thing to see, and to watch them swoop down and catch fish out of the water, and just to watch them sitting in a tree is just an incredible feeling.
But the best thing about winter is this stuff. Snow is the very thing that pulls us out of our burrows and inspires us to play. I know it can be a pain, especially when shoveling, but you have to admit, without it, winter would be pretty boring. So the next time you get a bad case of cabin fever, remember, get outside and play.
Now, it's important to point out that not all forays into the unknown are fraught with dangerous possibilities. Some of them are really opportunities for adventure, with unimaginable rewards for those who persevere. Last summer, I found myself in just that situation, and rather than retreat in the face of difficulty, I went forward with a hope and a prayer and someone to help me. There I was in the wilds of southeast Iowa. I was stalking an elusive quarry, drawn compulsively to a hidden wealth of diamond-like stones. I had heard stories, but was never quite sure if the legends of buried treasure were true. For the gem I sought was a prime specimen of the Iowa state rock, the geode. It had remained beyond my grasp until I found the perfect guide for my quest.
You ready to get your feet wet? Oh, yeah. Woo! Feels good. Now, see, you don't dare to stir up the water or you can't see the geodes.
Oh, I see. Barbara Leach is a seasoned geode hunter.
Let's look over here.
Her experience comes from 20 years of exploring and gathering geodes on her land near Danville, Iowa.
See, there's one that's been broke open and laid down here a long time. It's what you call a leverite to me. You'd leave it right there. A leverite.
Barb has developed a sharp eye for spotting the round and lumpy geodes among other rocks.
See, there's one that collapsed.
Should we crack it open?
Okay.
Ooh, that's
it has
beautiful.
some crystals in it.
Wow. Solid geodes are more common, but it's the hollow ones, lined with delicate quartz crystals, that are highly prized by collectors. Many other minerals, such as calcite, dolomite, and iron pyrites, can be found in geodes of all sizes and shapes. The formation of geodes remains a mystery. Many geologists think a nodule of another kind of mineral was dissolved away by groundwater seeping through layers of shale. This created a void where crystals could grow. But most agree that they are very, very old, formed almost 350 million years ago.
If all these rocks could talk, they could sure tell you a story. But I just like to go out and find them. They're, you know, when you open them up, they're just a big surprise. When you open up, you're the first person to see what was inside that rock.
Barb proudly displays her geode hunting talents with a very unusual house.
Yeah, that's probably some minerals that went to. My husband thought it'd really be neat to put the geodes on the front of the house because, you know, they all have a different story to tell. So he thought it'd be neat just to put them all on here. We just would have a certain amount of geodes laying around, and my husband would put them on the house, 2 rows at a time, so they'd set up.
Barb, how and when did you get interested in geode hunting?
Oh, probably 20-some years ago, because we lived in the Geode State Park area. There was a lot of people in the creek bed when we'd come over to water our cattle and things and check on the cattle, and I'd try to find out what they were doing in the creek, and that's what they were doing, hunting geodes. So that got me started too.
Had you ever heard about geodes before?
Never heard about geodes until we got here.
Is that right?
I like to take people out and to look for rocks. Just it kind of relax you to go out and look for rocks. Yeah, here's a geode that also has collapsed during all the years.
Yeah.
You start looking for rocks, you don't want to do anything else. You get so excited about what's in the geode, you know, you just get carried away and you just want to stay and look and look. Nothing here. Mr. Smith uptown suggested, you know, why don't you charge to go hunt rocks? And oh, I just thought since it was in the area and I'd like to hunt geodes, I'd just take them hunting.
Hearing about Barb's services, mostly by word of mouth, people from all over the United States and as far away as Germany, the Netherlands, China, and Japan have come here to hunt geodes.
Everyone's an adventure when you go out with someone to hunt geodes, because they didn't know what they were getting into when they went rock hunting, and they just thought they'd go pick them up. Well, some people, you know, they'll come like Sunday clothes on, and, you know, we're not going to go, and the other one will say, yeah, we're going to go, we're here, we're gone. So they'd just go in their Sunday clothes, you know.
And have a good time anyway.
Pantyhose and all, I mean.
Oh, that's great.
One person that I know of that was blind, that came from Wisconsin and went rock hunting, and he didn't want me to touch him or anything. He just wanted me to direct him in what direction, and he would follow me. And when I'd found a geode, I told him, and he started digging that geode out on his own. And he was just as happy as could be when he got that geode, and he could, you know, he felt it and everything and carried it back. And I don't know, it was just a good feeling that you could do that for someone. There's it, go ahead.
Yeah.
Barb's expert guidance and some diligent digging began to pay off.
Hey, she found the geode. Look at that.
Hey, Mickey. That one right there, though?
That.
Wow.
There's the geode.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to try that.
Here's a kind of a pink on the outside.
Yeah.
Anticipation built with each blow of the hammer as we eagerly worked to reveal the spectacle within.
Outside.
Oh, there we go.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's still beautiful, though.
Despite our discovery of several shining samples, my desire for that perfect specimen lured me deeper into geode country.
Here's one. Is this one?
No.
Oh. Okay, one more.
She's wicked with a hammer.
Oh my gosh.
There's two up there.
Yep. I got it.
Yep.
Woo, that's a pretty one.
Yeah, it is. This here might break off right there. Yeah, right there it goes around there. There we go.
Oh,
Isn't that beautiful?
look at it. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Cindy is the first one to look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful. So what's the best part of the whole deal? Hunting for them? Cracking them open? What's the best for you?
Making other people happy with a beautiful geode.
My quest had ended in success. We gathered our sparkling treasure and returned triumphant, recalling the moment when we opened the prized geode.
The Best of Living in Iowa is funded in part by the Gilchrist Foundation. Founded by Jocelyn Gilchrist, furthering the philanthropic interests of the Gilchrist family in wildlife and conservation, the arts and public broadcasting, and disaster relief.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.